You know, I can't prove this, and I don't even know if it's true, but this show just feels like a complete side quest for Vince Gilligan. Before I get into my thoughts on it, I really want to talk about relating to his other two shows, which are obviously massively critically acclaimed, very good. I've watched them both. I hope most people have. And this show is really a separation from, I think, the formula that he's used forever that obviously works perfectly because he has two of the highest rated shows literally ever on IMDb and, in fans' eyes, however you look at it. And this thing that I feel like he has made his mark off of is great main characters with a great supporting cast and excellent villains. You see it in Breaking Bad, you see it in Better Call Saul, like, you just feel the characters are fleshed out and they're all well cast and they're intriguing and the whole nine yards. And then you get this show where there is three characters, essentially, and one of them isn't even in for the entire show. And so it's very not ensemble driven. It's following one character for the entire show and somehow making it entertaining for the most part. Anyway, you start off, I'm going to try not to really spoil a lot, but I'm going to give an overview of the plot. And the show is not super complex in terms of what spoiling it really wouldn't do much harm, which is, give and take. But anyway, you start off episode 1 and you're introduced to this character, Carol Sturka, our main character, Rhea Seahorn. And she's kind of a bitch in a lighthearted, kind of sarcastic way where you kind of appreciate her bitchiness. I definitely think there's points in the show where she gets almost annoying to where it's okay, you don't have to be that extra over the top and just almost hard to watch sometimes from her perspective. And I love the actress. I love her character in Better Call Saul. And I think it's cool that she got a chance to shine and be the star in this show. But I just felt like it was a little over the top at times with the character. But anyway, the premise of the show is we intercept this signal scientists do from a alien planet civilization. We don't really know, but we know it comes from space, and it's a genetic code that after it is implemented, where they show that we're testing it out on rats, different codes, and they finally find the perfect match, and then this rat essentially starts the epidemic. But it's not really a sickness. It's more of it's like a genetic code that connects every single person on Earth in a hive mind after they come in contact with, I think, just each other's saliva. And it becomes widespread extremely fast. All within the first episode, it's basically the entire planet is just overtaken, and the only people who are not affected is a select few. I think it's 13. It's not that important because we don't even really interact with most of them, but I think it's 13 people in all that are immune to it. And obviously our main character, Carol, is one of them. And she sees it firsthand. We see it from her perspective. Anyway, during the transition of your mind becoming part of the hive mind, there's complications, and so some people die. Spoiler, this happens in the first episode, so it's not huge, but her love interest, a girl, so a same-sex relationship going on there. Nothing that important, just noting it. But her significant other dies while the process happens, and so she is immediately validated in the fact that she hates the hive mind people, which is, again, basically everybody she comes in contact with, and she vehemently goes against them from the get-go to a degree where it's almost unbelievable how much she hates them. Anyway, the show kind of progresses from there, her trying to understand how this works, understand their tendencies and their likes and dislikes and what makes them them and how they operate. And going from that, it's actually really interesting. It takes them a second to really get into what I find interesting about this, which would be, imagine someone who has the brain of every single human on Earth all at once. That would give them the ability to be the best at essentially everything. And there's a point where, you know, she tries to play like board games with them, or like some sports, like I don't know what the sport's called, to be honest. It's the one where you like hit the mallets. I don't know, but point is, Carol gets completely bodied, and it's funny. And I think that that's something that this show, the highlight of this show to me, is almost that it doesn't take itself entirely too seriously. And it's really us just following Carol along for the ride of her coming to accept this, but then not accepting it, but then accepting it, but then not accepting it. And all the while, her being very insufferable at points and funny at other points. About halfway through this season, we're introduced to a character named Manusos, who lives, I believe, in Peru. And he's one of the people that is not affected by the code. So he is just like Carol, and he is somehow worse than her. And it's almost endearing for her to see somebody else who is worse than she is, because it makes her more believable, because he is so on the other end of it. And it really puts you in the perspective of the different ways this would affect a person. Whether you, and then they show us family members of people that have also had their significant others, their friends, their parents, their siblings, whatever, turned into the hive mind, and all the different angles exist of, well, I still love them, they're still in there, and Carol is the realist, and like, they're not in there. Like, they're in there, but so is everybody else. So it's not them anymore. They're not individuals, and it's this fight against individualism versus progress and becoming one. And again, there's a lot of nuance to this and a lot that goes down. It's really interesting. It's really unique, but it's also really boring a lot of the time, because yet again, you're talking about a writer in Vince Gilligan, a director, writer, who has made his name from making amazing character interactions and good ensemble casts, to where, you know, you think about like a Gus from Breaking Bad, a character who's not in the whole time, but once he's there, he's a show stealer, right? And then you got Mike, who's an amazing character, and you got like more front row characters like Hank, who are also amazing. And then it just feels like every character, and then you just going over to Better Call Saul, you have Lalo Salamanca, who's a sick character, and Howard. Like, there's just so many characters in these shows that are just the best, and you love watching them be on the screen. And then this show comes in with just one character, and that's all that you follow, because essentially the characters, as I was saying at the beginning of the video, are Carol, Manusos, the comedic relief, and the hive mind. She interacts with a girl by the name of Zosha, who was supposed to be like, Carol's an author, and she writes fiction, fantasy, I think, and they basically take the person that looks the most like the person that she describes in her books as like really attractive and the perfect person to put in front of her, so that while the hive mind is all one person, it's supposed to be like an ease of access to her, give her somebody who's like her ideal person and make them more real. Her name's Zosha, but she's not really a character. Like, she is, and she feels like a character to the audience, but like, if you really think about it, she's just another one of the hive mind. They're all the same. Like, they all act the same way. And there's a lot of dynamics that come with this. Like, the hive mind people always speak in the third person, like we, us, and Carol tries to make Zosha into a individual, because it feels weird when a person goes, oh, we agree with that. Like, I agree with that. Like, and there's a point in the show where she starts to, it seems like she's going to get this individual out of them. And by the end of it, not really, right? And that's where Manusos comes in, where he is just unwavering. Like, Carol starts to kind of care about the hive mind people and look at them as like having feelings and mattering, and Manusos hates them. And so their interactions are really cool. The show doesn't really go anywhere in season 1. Like, the end result, spoilers, right? But the end result is we gotta stop this, which is kind of the same way it started. I saw that Vince Gilligan says he's gonna try to do this for like 4 to 5 seasons, which I don't even understand. This feels more like a movie to me, like a 2-part movie that would work. But we'll see. I believe in what he can do. I really just want to break it down though, give like an overview of the plot, and honestly, give it a chance. Like, I don't think it's for everybody. I don't think it's that good. I don't think there's any episode that where you're gonna leave and be like, that was the best thing ever. Episode 1's really good. It'll probably hook you. And again, it's funny. Like, like I said, the comedic relief character is kind of like it shows the different ways that somebody can handle this. You could be in total shock, hatred, or embrace it. And you show the guy who embraces it, where it's like, oh, this is so awesome. Like, these people will do whatever the fuck I ask them to do. They'll treat me like a king, like a god. But as the show progresses, it's clear that they are just catering to our survivors, just to lure them into for while they're figuring out how to turn them into the hive mind as well. But the show's entertaining. I think it's 8 episodes, and so it's a really easy watch. There's a lot of good moments that are worth it, and I believe in the potential just because of the pedigree of Vince Gilligan. I believe this will work. I do think it's less good than I expected it to be. And I almost, like I was saying at the beginning of the video, I almost feel like this is like a test for himself, just to be like, what do I have to do to not get an 8 out of 10 plus on IMDb on every single episode, right? Like, what can I push it to where, like, even the critics are like, okay, dude, like, this could be better. And I feel like this is kind of the first one where it's like, yeah, it's all right. I mean, I think it's like a 7 out of 10 type show, season 1. It's got some, like, again, I think the first episode and like the last episode are really cool. I think the twist-ish at the end of, like, kind of the backup plan if they're not able to save the world is very interesting. But overall, give the show a watch. Let me know what you think. And I really think overall the best part about the show is that it represents that Vince Gilligan's got a lot more ideas in mind, and he's willing to branch out, because this is completely different than what he's done in the past, and it opens up a new lane for him to maybe make something different in a different universe than the Breaking Bad universe, but also with that same writing style, writing effectiveness, and depth that we expect, but in a totally different scene. And so I from this, I look forward to seeing what he does in the future. But yeah, if you watch the show, let me know what you think about it, and thanks for watching.